swim with the tide. I don't walk the dreaded path. I refuse to dance to the beat of a regular drum. The real question isn't about being different. The real question is, why? Is it for shock and awe? Is it being different to stand out from the rest? Or is it just too annoying? Are these illusions of self-grandeur, or is it to shock society into awareness, to question the unquestionable? Regardless of purpose and intent, I find it impossible to follow the herd. Conventional wisdom to me is an absurd notion. Many of you will not concur with me. Some will dismiss, others will rise against it. If you don't agree with me, raise your hand and get in line. I am the Contrarian, and this is my world. Now for these, I really want you to think, because you'll have to think back a long time. When was the last time you sent an SMS instead of a WhatsApp, or a BBM, or a Facebook message? When was the last time you made an international call using your normal service provider's voice call rather than Skype or a Viber call? Yes, there was a time when there was no real data connection. Yes, there was a time when all we had was SMS and voice, when all you could do was subscribe to those special free SMSs and cheap call rate packages. But do all of these matter anymore? Hasn't this entire industry completely died? Isn't it 8 feet under? The telecom industry is in doldrums. Estimates show an annual loss of over 5,000 crores minimum due to subscribers opting for free messenger services and voice over IP, or as we call it, voice over internet calls. The Cellular Operators Association of India estimates that these losses could balloon to something close to 24,000 crore rupees in the next 3 years. Recent data collected has confirmed that the number of SMSs sent per person per month have fallen from 27 2 years ago to about 17. The prediction for the future? We're going to be down to under 5. Net neutrality. Say this phrase now, especially in India, and you'll get a wide gamut of emotions. A lot of people fighting the cause or the battle without even understanding what it's all about. Net neutrality is a phrase that has been tossed around a lot lately, a concept pushed by tech industry giants demanding that internet service providers and governments should treat all data on the internet equally. Think about it. What do you really do on the net? You download a video, you see a streaming one, you actually listen to music, you go to websites. What if a service provider was to ask you for different payments for different kind of content without any sort of discriminating or charging differently by users? That's what net neutrality is all about. Now it sounds fair, right? Yes, the internet should be a free medium for all to enjoy as and when they want. But imagine if there is no internet. Imagine when ISPs and telecom operators don't have the money to pay for the building of increased broadband access. Then who will you blame? Net neutrality may well be the reason future funding of the future internet may come to a complete standstill.
Regulations against net neutrality right now make no sense whatsoever, because the reasons provided by industry against net neutrality are to a great extent filled with falsities. Airtel says that these companies don't provide us any money, whereas we lay out all the networks and give access to different people, ability to access this. Unfortunately, they're free riding on our networks. That is utterly false.
So if in case that we don't support net neutrality, eventually the ISPs will decide, like, what sort of content that you can consume, and at what pace and what speed, and how much cost you need to pay for each and every type of content.
Can cellular operators and service providers survive when things look this bad? Telecom operators along with companies that provide networking gear argue that they should have an option to provide preferential treatment for internet services. The onus does not lie only on the company to pay these extra charges, but also on the online companies. If online giants like Google, Facebook, Yahoo would be willing to pay extra to transfer their data onto consumers, the added revenue could be used by telecom companies to build a better broadband infrastructure, in turn securing a better future for the internet and for you, the consumer.
Telecom operators essentially want lowering of spectrum prices, and they're the ones who are creating these issues. We need greater awareness amongst citizens of this country about how this is going to impact their access to the internet.
Now, the realities of net neutrality were lesser known in our country until a very popular telecom operator decided to start charging its consumers for voice over internet calls. I think you know exactly which company I'm talking about. Some of you have already started getting those huge bills after making what you thought were free calls over the internet. Now, I'm sure those bills are hurting your pockets, but they don't have to if online companies start paying service providers instead of you. But is that going to happen anytime soon?
In fact, in India, we already have quite a bit of regulation of internet service providers. We've gone far beyond that, where ISPs are fully regulated as telecom companies. So they are bound by something called the telecom license.
When you have a situation where companies have to pay ISPs or have to pay telecom operators for allowing others to access their site, it means that the bigger companies which have more money, they become bigger, and the smaller companies which don't have the resources have to either raise more funding, or they have to figure out ways of actually using more of their money in things like interconnection charges.
Hi.
Investments in developing advanced fiber optic networks are fast dwindling. On top of that, online giants like Google and Skype, YouTube and Viber are freeloading on network lines and cable phone companies that spent billions of dollars building that very infrastructure. Now, does that sound neutral in any way?
There is no law that prohibits discrimination online by companies, so they're free to discriminate in all kinds of ways. And that will in fact impact up-and-coming technologies such as peer-to-peer traffic, right? Things like torrent and various kinds of evolution of peer-to-peer traffic will get affected.